Did you know, in the early 1600s, over 400 years ago, there's a real story that sounds like it's straight out of a fantasy novel. Imagine a world where a single flower bulb, not a diamond, not a bar of gold, but a flower bulb was worth more than a mansion on the grandest canal in Amsterdam. This isn't fiction. This is the incredible, true story of the Dutch Tulip Mania, the first ever recorded speculative bubble, and a cautionary tale that still echoes in our financial world today. So how did a simple flower from the mountains of Central Asia cause one of the most spectacular economic crashes in history? It all started in the late 16th century. Tulips were introduced to the Netherlands from the Ottoman Empire, and they were unlike anything the Dutch had ever seen. Their vibrant, intense colors were a symbol of exotic luxury. The Dutch Republic was in its golden age, a hub of immense wealth and trade, and the newly rich merchants were eager to flaunt their status. What better way to do that than with a rare, beautiful flower in their garden? At first, tulips were a luxury for botanists and the ultra-wealthy. But then something fascinating happened. Some tulip bulbs became infected with a specific virus, the tulip breaking virus. This virus didn't kill the plant. Instead, it caused the petals to display stunning, multicolored flame-like patterns. These broken bulbs were incredibly rare and unpredictable, making them the most sought-after of all. Owning a rare tulip like the legendary Semper Augustus or the Viceroy was the ultimate status symbol. Everyone wanted a piece of the action. This is where things started to get wild. The demand for tulip bulbs exploded. People from all walks of life, from wealthy merchants to humble craftsmen and chimney sweeps, began trading them. They saw their neighbors getting rich overnight and thought, I can do that too. A formal market for tulip bulbs emerged, with trading happening in taverns and on stock exchanges. Prices began to climb, not just daily, but hourly. A single bulb of a rare variety could be traded for a carriage, a team of horses, and a plot of land. People were trading their life savings, their homes, their businesses, everything for the promise of a flower bulb that they might not even see bloom. The real madness began when the concept of tulip futures was born. People weren't even trading physical bulbs anymore. They were trading paper contracts, promising to deliver a bulb at the end of the season. This is where speculation took over completely. The price was no longer connected to the actual value of the tulip. It was driven purely by the belief that someone else would be willing to pay an even higher price tomorrow. It was a classic greater fool theory in action. People were buying contracts for thousands of guilders, a currency that could feed a family for years, all for a bulb they had never seen. At the peak of the mania, in the winter of 1636 to 1637, some rare bulbs were reportedly selling for more than 10 times the annual income of a skilled craftsman. The price of a single Viceroy bulb was famously listed as being worth 2 loads of wheat, 4 loads of rye, 4 fat oxen, 8 fat swine, 12 fat sheep, 2 hogsheads of wine, 4 tons of beer, 2 tons of butter, 1,000 pounds of cheese, a complete bed, a suit of clothes, and a silver drinking cup. It was absolute insanity. And then, as quickly as it rose, the bubble burst. In February 1637, the music suddenly stopped. The exact trigger is debated by historians, but what happened was a catastrophic loss of confidence. At a routine bulb auction in the city of Haarlem, for the first time, there were no buyers. Not at the high prices, not at lower prices. No one wanted to buy. Panic spread like wildfire. Everyone who was holding on to these ridiculously expensive bulbs or paper contracts tried to sell at once. But there was nobody to sell to. The market completely collapsed. Prices plummeted by over 90% in a matter of weeks. People who had been paper millionaires one day found themselves bankrupt the next. Fortunes were wiped out. Many had sold their family homes and businesses to invest in tulips and were now left with nothing but worthless bulbs and debt. The Dutch government tried to step in to mediate disputes, but the damage was done. The great Tulip Mania was over, leaving a trail of financial ruin and a very bitter lesson in its wake. So, what can we, living more than 4 centuries later, learn from a bunch of Dutch flower speculators? Well, a surprising amount, actually. This story is a timeless lesson about human psychology and the dangers of herd mentality and speculative fever. Think about it. The dot-com bubble of the late 90s, the housing market crash of 2008, and even some of the wild swings we see in cryptocurrencies and meme stocks today. Don't they all have echoes of Tulip Mania? The pattern is often the same. A new, exciting asset appears. Early investors make a fortune, and stories of their success spread. Then, FOMO, the fear of missing out, kicks in. People rush to invest, not because they understand the fundamental value of the asset, but because they see the price going up, and they want to get rich quick. They believe this time is different. But the laws of financial gravity are hard to escape. When an asset's price becomes completely detached from its intrinsic value, driven only by speculation, it creates a bubble. And all bubbles, eventually, pop. This isn't to say you should never invest in new or exciting things. Innovation drives progress. But Tulip Mania teaches us the importance of due diligence, diversification, and understanding what you're actually investing in. Ask yourself, am I buying this because I believe in its long-term value? Or am I just hoping to sell it to someone else for a higher price next week? Managing your personal finances isn't about chasing the next hot trend or trying to get rich overnight. It's about building sustainable wealth over time through smart, informed decisions. It's about not putting all your eggs in one basket, no matter how beautiful and promising that basket of tulips might seem. The story of Tulip Mania is a powerful reminder that when something seems too good to be true, it almost always is. The get-rich-quick dream can very quickly turn into a lose-it-all nightmare. So the next time you see a beautiful tulip, maybe it'll remind you not just of spring, but of the crazy time in history when one of its ancestors was worth more than gold, and the timeless financial lesson it represents. Thank you for joining me on this journey back in time. What do you think? Do you see parallels to Tulip Mania in today's world? If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more fascinating stories from history, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We will continue to travel back in time to other parts of the world to derive more learning lessons to improve ourselves.